Hello, my friends. I am Master Sommelier Peter Neptune, and this is my very first YouTube channel video. My students here at Neptune School of Wine have been pestering me for years to get off my lazy rear end and make some videos on tasting, blind tasting, wines to go buy, how to taste at a diploma level for WSET, etc., etc., etc. So here I am. I'm a Master Sommelier. I have a WSET diploma in wine and spirits. I am a French wine scholar with highest honors, and I have a certificate with the Society of Wine Educators as a certified wine educator. I won the Banfi Award for that exam. A couple of things. I don't use the 100-point scale. I don't believe in it. I know this is going to be controversial to some and welcome to others, but I didn't like it when it first came out in the early 80s. I thought it was lazy, and I don't like it now. What's the difference between 89 and 90 points? What's the difference between 99 and 100? 84 is the kiss of death. I mean, it's really a 10-point scale if you really think about it. I don't get it. I don't believe in it, so I don't use it. What do I use? I use English. Wines can be poor, acceptable, good, very good, great, or outstanding, and every now and then a wine is perfect. If I feel that a wine is good or very good, I'd probably go out and buy it. Particularly, at a given price point. I mean, if a wine's good at $11.99 or $12.99, geez, I'd run out and buy it. If a wine's very good, in my opinion, I'd probably hightail and find out where you can get it and get it. If a wine's outstanding, clearly buy it if you can afford it. And what's a perfect wine? Well, I'll just give you an example. They don't come along very often. But recently, a student of mine brought in a bottle of 2000 Léoville Las Casses, which is a second growth from Saint-Julien in Bordeaux. And we'll talk about all this stuff if you keep tuning in and I keep making videos. But that wine, we all just took a breath. We couldn't believe it. It was perfect wine. And you know it when you feel it. You know it when you meet it. You bow down to it. It's life-changing. And every now and then we might come across one. But for this opening episode, I thought I would do a popular theme, which is Costco wines. And in this case, I chose Costco wines under $20. It's a price point, that many people can afford, that many people are looking for. I went to Costco this past Thursday. I bought 5 wines, 2 whites and 3 reds, that are all really in the $14.99 range. And I thought we'll taste them, we'll go through them, see what my recommendations are, see what I think about them, and whether you should run out and buy them or not. So let's do Costco wines under $20. First up, I've got this 2023, I think it's 2023, yes, Fest Parker Chardonnay, Santa Barbara County. It is 100% barrel fermented, aged in French and Hungarian oak. Boy, there's a selling point. Of which 28% was new. They made 33,954 cases, so clearly you can probably find this a lot of places, probably by the glass, Costco obviously. And it's I haven't had this bottle of wine in a long time. Let's take a look and see what we got. Pale lemon color. The wine is medium plus intensity and youthful. And we get the very typical aromas I would expect from kind of the California Chardonnay style. We get the lemon curd, the really ripe yellow apple, almost a tartatan aroma here, like a baked pear tart. There's obvious aromas of oak, so we get the vanilla, we get a little hint of butterscotch, we get a little creaminess, we get the butteriness that, is caused from malolactic conversion. So it's kind of like the whole California Chardonnay package here. Definitely very ripe fruit. There's banana and pineapple as well. And there's even a little bit of kaffir lime. So we kind of got A lot going on. I might up the intensity to pronounce because this thing's just jumping out of the glass. Let's give it a taste, see what we think. Okay, the wine is dry-ish. There's a touch of residual sugar, just a touch. The alcohol's high for sure, over 14%, and I do know it's 14.1, but it feels like it's got some body, some alcohol. The acid is medium. The intensity is medium plus. The body is medium plus to full for sure. And on the palate, I do like the way it restrains itself a little bit more on the palate. It's got slightly tartar fruit. So the lemon is there, the apple is there, the lime is there. There's not as much overtly tropical banana, which I'm not that big a fan of, that really banana bread tropical thing going on with a lot of Chardonnays. It's got a little bit of elegance to it and a little bit of restraint. The oak is not as apparent on the palate as it is on the nose. And so we've got a lot of primary character here. That secondary character of more of a toned down vanilla character, a little bit of sweet spice, and the buttery character isn't as apparent on the palate. It gives it a nice mouthfeel. The finish is medium plus. I think this is a good wine. For those of you who are big Chardonnay fans, you would like it. It's not as out there as some. I'm not going to name names right now, but it is a good bottle of wine. And what is it? $14.59 at Costco. As a sommelier with a wine program, if I was looking for a wine to pour by the glass for my Chardonnay customers, who I do have to pay attention to, this would be a good choice because I think it's good and it's not over the top. It's not overdone. So there we go. That's Fess Parker Chardonnay. Good job, guys. All right, next up in our Costco lineup of $20 and under wines. Next up, I've got Whitehaven Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc 2023. This is a family-owned winery, fairly large winery in Marlborough, New Zealand, on the South Island of New Zealand. Many of you are quite aware, you're fans. One of my diploma students told me about a year ago, I had never heard this before, but I guess what's going on out there is they're referring to this as Savvy B. Savvy B. So I got to get hip and call this a Savvy B from Marlborough, New Zealand. But the style has taken off in the past 20 years or so. People are fans of this kind of style of wine. So, I picked this out. I'm very familiar with Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. It's one of the easiest wines to pick out in a blind tasting, for example, because of its really out there, overt aroma and flavor character. This is made by the Whitehaven Winery. They make a lot of wine. This is distributed by Gallo here in the United States. So clearly they got distribution everywhere. And they make 375,000 cases of this wine. That is a lot of wine, ladies and gentlemen. So let's give it a shot, see what we got, okay? So, Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc. This is a pale lemon green color, very typical of the kind of cool climate area that we're looking at. Well, right off the bat, you get this in a blind tasting, you just thank the examiners because it's a very, very easy wine to pick out. Really intense, pronounced intensity, and it's everything we would expect from this style of wine. And that's the thing about Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc is that they have a tendency to kind of smell and taste in a very uniform way. It's kind of like this is what you get in Marlborough, New Zealand. And if you love it, you love it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it that much. I'm kind of, I like the wines. I think they're good, particularly with Asian food and things like that. But this wine is showing all the intensity that we would expect. Right off the bat, you get this kind of really intense, ripe grapefruit, almost pink grapefruit character. And then we get all of the aromas and flavors that we associate with methoxypyrazines, which is a chemical compound found in the skins of Sauvignon Blanc grapes that's really predominant in this particular climate and area. So we get all this roasted bell pepper. We get, really intense kind of roasted asparagus character, freshly mowed grass, like I'm riding my bike, through Irvine, and they just cut the median, and I'm riding along. It's like, oh God, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc in the air. It's everywhere. Freshly mowed grass. You get this hint of elderflower and a lot of lime and even lime blossom and things of that nature. But really, really driven by this bell pepper, asparagus, grass character and this really ripe grapefruit. And then there's the passion fruit and even the kind of guava and mango. So a lot of tropical fruit happening here. All right, let's give it a taste. Dry, high acid, your mouth is watering, right? Whoa, high acidity, quite a wake-up call here. Alcohol's medium, body is medium, intensity is pronounced. And on the palate, really grapefruity, like freshly squeezed pink grapefruit into the glass. And a lot of people ask, this is a really good question, especially my level 1 students. They go, well, did somebody squeeze grapefruit into the glass? And the answer is no. The thing about fine wine grapes, like Vitis vinifera, what we're dealing with here is that after fermentation, they smell and taste like something other than grapes. And these aromas and flavors are inherent in these different grape varieties. Different grapes have different personalities that they exhibit through fermentation and into the glass. So in particular, Sauvignon Blanc kind of will have that, but it's intensified in Marlborough. So we get this really intense grapefruit, a lot of lime, elderflower, and then bell pepper, gooseberry, asparagus, even kind of a canned asparagus character. There's a really intense, freshly mowed grass. The alcohol's medium, and the finish is medium. Again, I think the wine's good. I think it's typical of Marlborough wines. I just think it's it is what it is. It's what you should expect. This would be really good with Mexican food, Thai food, Vietnamese food, things that have a lot of intensity and a lot of flavor. And the acidity here kind of also cuts through and makes this a wine that would be pretty food friendly. So that's my take on Whitehaven 2023 Sauvignon Blanc. By the way, at Costco, $14.89 a bottle. Okay, let's move on to some reds in my Costco under $20 a bottle tasting here. This is the 2018 Incanto VinoNobilediMontepulciano. I love saying that. VinoNobilediMontepulciano. It is a wine from Tuscany, made from the Sangiovese grape. They call it Prugnolo Gentile in this beautiful town of Montepulciano in Tuscany. Montepulciano is just south and east of Chianti Classico area. It's a beautiful hill town, very typical Tuscan hill town. And the wine there, the noble wine for the area, is a blend of Sangiovese, typically with Mammolo, another local grape variety, and others. I like Tuscan wine a lot. I'm a big fan of Sangiovese. In the future, we'll be tasting Chianti Classicos and Brunello de Montalcinos and all these wonderful things. So let's give this a look and a pour and see what we've got. So this is what we would call a pale ruby character. The wine, is a 2018. So how's my math? It looks like we got, 5 or 6 years on this thing here. And we've got a little bit of aging. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some tertiary aromas and flavors happening here. So primary aromas, by the way, are the aromas of the grape itself in a young wine. Secondary aromas are the aromas of winemaking. For example, new barrels or malolactic conversion or aging on the lees. And we can talk about all that stuff in the future. Tertiary aromas are bottle bouquet. Tertiary aromas are what happen when wine ages in bottle and begins, these aromas and flavors begin to develop of dried fruit and hay and leather and tobacco and things like that. So, one of the great things about aging wine, if you are able to do so or able to buy wine that has some age on it, like this guy, is that you begin to notice these interesting flavors and aromas that have developed in the bottle. So I'm really curious to look for that and see if we can find any of that right off the bat. And we do. This is a developing nose, so we would have youthful, developing, fully developed, and old over the hill. But this is developing with clear tertiary notes. But right off the bat, we get that red fruit character that I expect from Sangiovese. It's like a sour cherry character. It's wild raspberry, wild strawberry. It's almost as if I'm walking through the pine forest, the alpine forest at the top of the Apennine Mountains, right? And we're walking through, and we smell all these things. You smell the hedgerow and the forest floor, and a little bit of moss and a little bit of fern. So we get the fruit character is really red fruit, and then we have kind of a dried cranberry. There's a beautiful kind of mossy fern character here. There's like somebody's over there spinning a clay pot, right? There's an artist spinning a clay pot. It's quite a lovely nose. There's floral too. Mamolo, the grape, it actually means violet, the violet flower. And somebody long ago must have said, wow, this smells like violets, right? And this really has a beautiful violet floral perfume. Quite lovely, very, very, very haunting, and it draws you in. I can't wait to taste it, so let's give it a try. That's a good wine. That's very good. Go buy it. Dry, bone dry. Acidity medium plus, tannin is pretty high. And it's mouth-filling, kind of grippy tannin. We need a bistecca fiorentina with this bottle of wine, all right? We need some protein for sure. Right on its own, this isn't what I would call a porch pounder, all right? You need some food with this wine, but I like it a lot. Tannin's high and mouth-filling, a little grippy, but at the same time, I like the texture of it. It's like really fine sandpaper, and that's not a bad thing, actually. Body is full because of the tannin, and the alcohol seems 14% to me. On the palate, boy, we get the kind of cranberry, sour cherry, tart raspberry, and then that beautiful violet character. And then there's all that leather and even orange peel and forest floor and moss underneath everything. There's a hint of, there's no way this saw new oak, but it probably saw a very large botta, very large oval, probably 3,000 liter botta, they call them in Italian. But you get this sense kind of a sweet spice, maybe a dried oregano, dried Italian herb character as well. Finish is long. This is very good wine, very good wine. The price point is $14.99, 14% alcohol by volume. This is made by a co-op. I looked this up. The Vecchia Cantina di Montepulciano was established in 1937. They got 400 members, aged 2 years in Slavonian barrels and then refined 6 months in bottle. It's a very good wine. I like it a lot. I would go buy it. I probably will. At this price point, this is what I would call a really, really lovely Monday through Thursday night bottle of wine. Really great with anything Italian, a steak, of course, with a little bit of arugula, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of good balsamic vinegar drizzled on top. But I mean, pasta with the wild boar sauce, as is typical in Tuscany. A grilled sausage on the barbecue with some spaghetti with a spicy red sauce. I mean, you could have so much fun with this wine. I really like it. It's very good indeed. Okay, I'm back with wine number 4 here, and wine number 4 is the Andrew Murray Vineyard, Syrah, Santa Ynez Valley, tous les jours, which I believe means all of the days. I think that's what it means. I guess this would be an everyday drinking wine. It is, I believe, 100% Syrah. aged 18 months in French oak. I'm not sure how much of it is new, but we'll give it a look-see and we'll check it out. So here we go. Wow, this is typical color of Syrah. This is what I'd expect. It's a pretty deep purple color. Maybe I back that down to medium purple, but certainly a beautiful magenta rim there. And we would expect that kind of color from Syrah, which is relatively small berried, thick skins, has a lot of pigmentation, gives us a good amount of color. Smells like Syrah. This is great. So, you know, one of the things that you want to always look for when you're practicing tasting is looking for varietal typicity, so that you can begin to memorize what different grape varieties smell like. Now, it changes where they're grown, climate, soil, clearly winemaking techniques, things like that. But Syrah typically, you know, you would expect to have a blackberry character, a dark fruit character, dark blue fruit, black fruit, and particularly this peppery character, almost like the waiter came over and said, "Would you like some cracked pepper there in your wine?" And again, great question. Do they actually crack pepper in there? No, that's just what happens very typically with Syrah. So right off the bat, we have a powerful nose, smells youthful. And did I say that this was a 2021? And right off the bat, I've got some good just ripe and ripe black fruit, blackberry, hint of black currant, hint of blueberry, hint of huckleberry, and cracked black pepper. I mean, it's just like peppered, and even peppered beef, or even like a peppered beef jerky, right? Things like that. There's I don't get a lot of oak on the wine. There's maybe just a hint of maybe espresso mocha in the background. I just don't think he used a lot of new oak, maybe 10-15%. But there's also that same kind of violet overtone, that beautiful floral violet overtone here, and even a hint of, like hyacinth or something like that. But there is a nice little floral overtone to this wine. Let's check out the palate. The wine's dry. Acidity is medium plus. Tannin is medium plus. And it's not quite as high as that VinoNobile. It's got, tannin for sure. I can feel it continuing to increase on my tongue. My tongue's drying out. But the tannin is ripe, and there's just a mouth coating. It's almost like tannin latex paint coating my mouth. The alcohol is high. Body is full, and intensity is pronounced. We get a lot of blue-black fruit, blueberry, blackberry, huckleberry. There's this hint of violet there. There's the pepperiness. The wine's very chewy. This would be great with a hamburger, with Gruyere cheese melted on top and a brioche bun. I like the way it feels on the palate. It's got good presence. We get everything that we talked about, but there's a lot of fruit here, but it's not overripe. It's kind of just ripe. Like I've just put a fresh blackberry into my mouth, and I'm tasting it, and it's quite nice. There's a little hint of cardamom and maybe cumin spice, a little hint of oak there on the palate, but not overwhelming. The overall impression here is really fruity wine, very fresh, very forward, and I like it. This is, I think, good, maybe almost very good. I would buy it and drink it. This would be my choice for a Tuesday night hamburger and French fries. It would just be really, really flat out delicious. The cost is $13.89, and at that price point, I'm going to up it. So here where we go. Well, for $13.89, that's a very good bottle of wine. Go buy it. It's a really enjoyable, drinkable bottle of wine. Congrats to Andrew Murray for continuing to put out this wine. My God, I've been tasting this wine for over 25 years, I think. And he always does a good job with this, and I love the fact that it's still really affordable. Okay, fifth and final wine in our Costco under $20 tasting here. And this is Chateau Latour de Laroque, Saint-Emilion Cru. This is the second wine of Chateau Laroque, which is a Saint-Emilion Cru Classé. I don't have time to go over the Saint-Emilion classification right now. It's very complicated. But just suffice to say that this is the second wine of Chateau Laroque, which is a very respected producer in Saint-Emilion. And they have this at Costco. And so this is a Bordeaux wine from the right bank of Bordeaux in the absolutely beautiful town of Saint-Emilion. And let's give it a try. Okay, so this is a deep ruby color. It's also a 2018, so right off the bat, I can see at the rim that there's a little bit of a color change. So actually, I'm gonna amend my color here. It's medium ruby, and it's changing color to a garnet color at the rim. So that tells me right off the bat, looking at the wine, that I've got a wine with a little bit of age on it, right? I've got a wine that should show that tertiary aroma and flavor development that we were talking about with the VinoNobile. So we give it a nice swirl. Oh yeah, I mean, and right off the bat, we just smell all this beautiful Bordeaux stuff going on and wine with a little bit of age. So the fruit is interesting. It's a combination of kind of red and black fruit. And I would expect that. I mean, this is 96% Merlot and 4% Cabernet Franc. And Merlot typically gives us what I'm smelling here, which is it's kind of plummy fruit. So it's a combination of both red and blue plum. And it's a very attractive aroma, and it's very, very typical of Merlot from this area of the world. So we get this beautiful red and blue plum character. There's an overtone here of violet as well. And then we get on the back of the nose here, there's all this very interesting tertiary stuff happening. One of the things that happens with Bordeaux for me is this kind of pencil shaving aroma. It's literally as if I took my pencil sharpener here and said, here, smell this. And you smell these pencil shavings, and it's this kind of graphite pencil shaving sawdust aroma. And it's very typical of Bordeaux, particularly after 3, 4, 5 years in bottle. So we get that really nice freshly shaved pencil aroma. Freshly shaved pencil, that's great. And then there's a little hint of smoke, a little hint of tar, kind of a dusty thing happening. And then it's as if we're surrounded by like a pine forest. There's cedar and a little bit of pine and pine needles on the thing. We're walking along the pine forest, and it's just a really, really beautiful, fragrant aroma. Beguiling is the word, I think. Let's go ahead and taste. Oak seems to be, kind of restrained. We get a little bit of cedar, as I said. We get a little bit of that sawdust character, and they said 50% new French oak barrels, but boy, it really doesn't seem that overt to me. Oh wow, that's a pleasure. Wow, there's a lot of wine here. Dry, bone dry, acidity medium plus. Tannin is high still. Boy, it's that mouth coating tannin. Boy, tannin today. And this is really ripe, very mouth coating, riper tannin than the VinoNobile, but just again, it's just mouth coating, and really, it's just really, really amazing how it coats the palate. Alcohol seems like it's just high, 14.5. I would call it 14.1. But there's a lot of structure here, a lot of body. The body is full, the intensity is pronounced. I really, really like this wine a lot. This has got intensity on the palate. I'm amazed this is a second wine, frankly. This could, a lot of people would be happy for this to be their first wine, meaning their grand vin, right? Their top wine. Boy, on the palate, I get a combination of blue plum, red plum, a little bit of black currant, a little bit of black cherry. There's this violet character. There's this cedar and pine needles and forest floor and lead pencil shavings. A little hint of sweet spice, a little hint of clove. And the finish is really long. I need really bad some steak au poivre. Or something. How about some duck confit, which would be the perfect combo with this. I got to tell you guys, this is outstanding wine. I found one at Costco for $15.99. So I would get in the car and hightail it to Costco and buy a case of this wine if you can afford it. And if you can, lay it down, drink it with duck confit. And if you can, and by the way, I get my duck confit at this incredible place called Wild Fork, which pretty much I get all my meats and fish at. Everything's flash frozen. Frozen is freshest. Wow. And the duck confit there is fantastic. I just love it. This would be great. I love this wine. It's got a lot going on. This wine will continue to age for another 15 to 20 years if you have the room and the patience and the time in your life. But with a little bit of food, this would be just great. This is outstanding wine. Congratulations to them. I'm amazed that you can get this for $15.99 at Costco, and that makes me very happy. Well, that's the end of this episode number 1 of Master Sommelier Peter Neptune, tasting with you. Tell your friends, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you very soon for another episode. Thank you very much.